A new environment requires the relearning of basic skills: how to dress, how to eat, how to talk, and even how to walk. In this episode, we will look at the adaptation process in two main aspects of everyday life: weather and food. We will discover the challenges the protagonists faced and the changes they made in their migratory journey.
For many Latinas who have migrated to places with cold and snowy weather, the initial experience seemed beautiful and enchanting. When the protagonists first arrived in their new home, they were captivated by the beauty of snow-covered landscapes. The glistening snowflakes and frosty air seemed like something out of a fairy tale.
It was totally a new experience for me, but at the same time, it was magical because to see everything, all the old buildings in Montreal, old port, with the snow and people like drinking the tea, coffee. So it was kind of magic for me to see them. It was like a, ¿cómo se dice cuento? Like a story, like fairy tale. It was like a fairy tale for me.
However, as time passed, the long winter months became overwhelming, and the lack of contact with nature and people made life difficult. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, our protagonists began to feel the weight of cabin fever during the long winter.
The first time that maybe you go to the sea, you use the sea train or the bus, you wait in the outside. You really need to be with a very good jacket and gloves and hat and a good winter shoes or boat. So that was the first thing that I do, because I really don't want to have a bad experience, because if I am frozen, I will hate the world. So yes, I like maybe the snow. I am that kind of, I used to do a snowboard in Argentina, so I was very excited. Okay, let's try and do these things here. But then I realized that it was like that kind of thing that is every day snow in front of your house, and you have to clean the sidewalk, and so it's not easy, but you don't have chance to change it, right?
La gente te pasa por el lado y alguien te puede decir hola o algo así, pero van corriendo, ¿no? No es que te digan hola para decirte hola, ¿cómo tú estás? Y entablar una conversación, si no es algo de cortesía y sigue, ¿no? Y cuando hay invierno las personas van muy apretadas, mirando hacia el suelo, nadie te mira así, sí, es muy diferente. Sí.
We live like in 6 months during this winter, and sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes we are not used to cold weather. We are not used to, I come from a tropical country. For me, the first winter, they were very, very difficult because I was living in British Columbia, and over there you don't have sun, sorry, and it was dark days, it was rainy days, and mentally you get like a lot of sadness and experience different emotions that back in your country you are never experiencing, because you always have sun. That is the vitamin D, and that is very, very important.
When you emigrate, there seems to be no easy way to turn back. The Latinas were already here, so they had to keep going. But that was not an easy process. For some of them, adapting to the weather was harder. Ultimately, weather is experienced subjectively.
It's like, okay, you are in or you are not in. It's like you have to, and I know that in winter, just make plans with your friends, go outside. It's like the life just keep going. It's now because it's minus 20 degrees, you are not going to do nothing. We have experience with some friends that are Argentine as well. We went to Upper Lake winter and make some what we call asado, barbecue, so we were all with our winter clothes, but we are having asado in the middle of the winter. So it's just the attitude you have to that. It was, so yes, we were always trying to do things to make it shorter. Maybe the first months, November, December, January are good, but at the end of March, beginning of April, you want, okay, please finish, no more snow, but well, it's still happening. And in my case, it's like I only have 2 winter experience, so I know that it's time to get to use to this kind of style of life, you know?
Entonces, logré superar menos 40 caminando en la calle, bien abrigada. Tengo una foto, creo que inclusive la puse, y era menos 40. Se me congelaban las pestañas, pero lo logré. Entonces, cuando las personas llegan a este lugar y muchas veces preguntan en grupos, ¿cómo es el invierno? ¿Cómo estás? Y yo les digo, si te abrigas bien, la vas a pasar. Abrígate bien y lo pasas.
Yo no logro acostumbrarme al frío, a pesar de los muchos consejos que te dan en cualquier institución en la que ingresas, en cualquier cuando compartes con personas, con amigos, con otras personas que ya llevan tiempo viviendo aquí, con las personas, con los mismos canadienses que están acá, siempre te dicen, no pienses en eso. El frío está ahí, pero no pasa nada. Tú estás dentro de tu casa, siempre con calefacción, llegas al carro con calefacción, te vas, entras en tu centro de trabajo, en la tienda, en el lugar que vayas a visitar y hay calefacción. O sea, eso no pasa nada, es un momento lo que tú sientes el frío. Yo realmente no lo siento así. Para mí el frío, cuando llega el invierno, es todo el clima, son las personas, es todo lo que hace, todo está inmerso en esa frialdad. Yo realmente siento, cuando llega el frío, los días se ponen más grises. eh, Aunque Calgary es una de las ciudades más soleadas de Canadá, según he leído, y eso se agradece a las personas, sobre todo los latinos, los latinos, me imagino que africanos que venimos de climas tropicales, pero el sol está ahí, es bien bonito, te alegra el día, puedes ver la claridad, no siempre está nublado, pero no calienta. Es como, Es como él está ahí, pero no hace la misma función que hace todos los días o que como yo lo conocía. Realmente está ahí, pero no calienta. Y hay mucho frío afuera, aunque pueda salir. Eh, Está todo blanco, 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 blanco. Esa nieve que no se va, que tú dices cuándo se va a derretir, cuándo se va a ir. Porque esa nieve yo entiendo que te produce más frío. Es esa escarcha congelada, esa agua congelada que no te deja salir de esa frialdad.
Que bueno, yo tengo carro, ¿no? O sea, no es lo mismo andar en... Yo estuve los primeros 3 años en Canadá sin carro y andar en transporte público a -30, no es bonito, pues. Admiro profundamente a los niños que se agarran su autobús escolar para irse al colegio. ¿Sabes? Uno se quejaba en Latinoamérica, tipo, mamá, está lloviendo, no quiero ir a clase. Era como que no. Y eso... bueno, eso le da un plus a las personas que viven eso día a día, ¿no? Pero sí, creo que no. Nunca voy a ser amiga del invierno. Nunca, 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 nunca. Ya lo llevo bien porque, bueno, por todas las condiciones que ya tengo seteadas, que es, bueno, tengo un trabajo, tengo una dinámica, tengo una hija, tengo un carro que me facilita transportarme en invierno.
And I think that it had an impact in our mental state at that moment, because it became really hard to think of us being able to do things outside our home. So it was hard at first, and the other thing is that it is too long. So after, I don't know, 3 months, you start to get tired about the weather and having to dress up just to go outside and pick something outside. It can get you tired about that. And also I think the distances here in the city are not, there are very long distances to get everywhere. And even if we have a bus stop very close to our home, like staying for 1 minute in the cold is not very nice, especially for my daughter. I think if we didn't have any kids, it would be much easier. But with her, it was harder. So the first winter was difficult, and fortunately we were able to get a car around the middle of the winter, and that made everything easier, especially doing groceries and things like everyday life things were much easier because of that. And I think that improved our emotional state as well.
I felt the coldest I have ever felt in my whole life. So that was my first thought. The second thing that I faced is, I went to the grocery store and I just wanted to buy milk. And in Bogota, in Colombia, where I come from, there is milk. Milk is milk. So you go and you buy either a liter or half a liter or a box of milk. And that's about the choices you had at the time. I don't know how is it now, but that was at the time. And I came here and I went to buy milk, and it's like a whole shelf of milk. Like 3%, 2%, 1%.
And then half and half, I didn't understood. Half and half, I thought it was water with the milk. And it's all those kinds of soy milk and weird other things, no milk, no lactose, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I turned around and I didn't buy milk because I was like, what is it? It was like my second day in Canada. I was like, I can't buy milk.
Another important aspect of adopting a new lifestyle during the first years of immigrating to Canada is food. The loss of one's culinary heritage and the incorporation of new flavors into one's diet. The challenges involved in this process highlight a complex relationship between cultural adaptation, dietary preference, and the accessibility of wholesome food options. The dynamic culinary landscape spawned by globalization has brought about exciting new flavors and a diverse array of industrialized products. However, this proliferation often comes at the expense of traditional, locally sourced ingredients and healthy food, particularly fresh fruits and vegetables. The shift towards highly processed foods may offer convenience, but poses significant concerns for nutrition and health.
At first, I think it was very easy because you really don't miss a lot your own food. But with time, it started to get harder because I started missing many things we had in Mexico City. And I am a terrible cook, so I don't have the recipes to prepare myself for those things I missed. But the other thing is that you cannot get like the basic stuff for Mexican food. It's not easy to get here. And I'm thinking about tortillas. Like it's the most common thing you can buy in Mexico City, and you can get good tortillas here. And I still haven't found a good restaurant where I can really taste the traditional food I was used to in Mexico City.
Mexico is a country that has like the food or the produce is very cheap, and you have different like all years depending on the season. You have different fruits or vegetables, whatever, and here you have the same all year long, and you know that it's not as fresh as in our countries, and that's something that we miss. That sometimes you could go to the store or the market and just grab things that are seasonal, and you get different flavors just because they are, of course, the price is better, the flavor is better, so you get that.
But also the fruit. The fruit is very expensive here. Food that you could buy anytime at any grocery store in Mexico City for some few dollars. Here, when you find it, it's not really good and it's really expensive. So that has been a struggle. So when we go back to Mexico, we eat a lot of fruit and a lot of Mexican dishes.
The balancing act between the preparation of homemade, nutritious meals and the ubiquity of fast food presents a fundamental dilemma in modern society. While homemade dishes are often perceived as healthier and more wholesome, the convenience and affordability of fast food can be attractive, particularly in busy urban environments. This dilemma underscores the need for concerted efforts to promote culinary education, support local food systems, and advocate for policies that prioritize the availability of fresh and nutritious ingredients. Ultimately, addressing these challenges requires a holistic approach that considers cultural preferences, economic factors, and public health imperatives.
Cuando yo migré aquí, yo no sabía hacer tortillas, pero al ver que nadie vendía tortillas en donde yo estaba, en la punta de la nada, pues yo me enseñé a hacer tortillas. Compré mi tortillera y ahora sí, lo que jamás en la vida pensé que iba a hacer, lo hice aquí y fue aprender a hacer tortillas, ¿no?
The food is good because it's like fast food, so for me it was good the first time. But now it's like, okay, I want to eat more healthy, you know, it's like, it's not always chocolate, and you go and have the burger with bacon, the burger with 2 burgers and more bacon and cheddar. It's like, it's like the fast food is very easy to get here. But sometimes I really miss the homemade food.
Trato de comer sano. Las cosas aquí, comer sano, cuesta doble o cuesta 3 veces más que comer comida que no es sana. Pero pues sí trato de seguir ahí, balancear así sano y medianamente sano, porque pues uno tiene que comer, ¿no?
The good side is that here we have had the opportunity to try different foods from different parts of the world, and that has been amazing because we don't have that diversity, that food diversity back in Mexico City, so that has been a good thing.
Migration means adapting oneself to a new lifestyle. The protagonists of Latinas Diary have told us how they survived their first winter in Canada and how they managed to get used to living in a country with a climate so different from those which they have been accustomed. Also, we have come to know the challenges they went through to live in a different gastronomic environment where they have learned to cook and prepare their favorite dishes, but also where they have learned to enjoy new and diverse flavors.